Alright, and we're back. So, recently we got a new trailer for the upcoming season 2 of the anime, the highly popular anime, The Rising of the Shield Hero. And with it, we kind of finally got a tentative release date, which has been a major pain in the butt for it. So let's break it down. Welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so like I was saying, Rising of the Shield Hero, kind of a popular anime. Came out in 2019, if I'm not mistaken, and since then everybody was like, hey, I want to watch more of that show. It was kind of good. It was kind of enjoyable. And then all of a sudden, COVID hit. It's supposed to come out. So season 2 was supposed to come out last year, but got delayed. Like almost everything else everywhere got delayed. And so now finally, it's giving signs of life. But it's kind of strange. Because supposedly season 2 comes out this year. And they're also saying that season 3 might be coming out this year, which seems like a bit much. But I mean, whatever. If they already had it ready, they just hadn't aired it. I guess it can make some sense. Mob Nasty, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. So let's just go through the news really quickly, and then we're going to kind of break down the show. Because most of you don't know what the show's about. So I'll just give you like a quick little version. The show's an isekai. So for those of you who don't know what that means, basically it means that you were transported into a different world. So you're from the normal world and you're transported into another world. Usually it's some kind of magical world. And sometimes it has a lot of, let's say, video game qualities. The other world has, it feels kind of like you're in a video game. So that's what an isekai is, that you are transported to another world. Now, how you get transported, there's really no rules. It could be magic. It could be, I don't know, you just woke up there one day. It could be death. It could be that a god transported you there. There's really no rules. In fact, you know what? One day I'll probably do a podcast where I'm just breaking down isekais, like which one's the best out there. Because some of them you don't even think about. It's like, hey, that's an isekai. Like technically Digimon, I guess. The original Digimon, that's an isekai. But I mean, it's a genre became really popular now. But back in the day, it was always popular. I don't know. So it's a thinker. It's an interesting one. Anyway. So this show is an isekai, and basically it's about a dude that gets transported into a magical world. This world is being attacked by, I don't know, every month or so, like a portal opens up to a different dimension, and monsters start coming over from another dimension, and they have to fight to survive. Right? That's pretty much that's the easiest way to explain that. And so 4 heroes get transported there. And each hero has a cardinal weapon: a sword, a spear, a bow, and the shield. So this is the story of the Shield Hero. And before I get into any more about what the story's about specifically, I'm going to break down the news here for those of you who care. So about season 2, this is all that we know. It's been 3 years since the show came out, which is 2019. And now that we have the first trailer that's been released, we kind of know what arc it's going to be. And we know kind of when it's going to come out. So they don't specifically give us a date, but they say that it's going to come out in April 2022. So it's only a few months away, 2-3 months away, 2.5. And most importantly, if you know how programming works, broadcast programming works in Japan, you can kind of figure it out. So it's everybody's saying here, I'll just read you what I read here from the analysis. So you should expect season 2 episode 1 to debut either on Wednesday, April 6th or on Wednesday, April 13th in accordance with the programming block for the first broadcast in Japan. So, you know, Japan has broadcasts by seasons. There's the winter, the spring, whatever. So if they're saying it's coming out in 2022 in April, then you should expect one of those 2 dates. So there you go. If you're fans of the show, that's when you can see it. And now let's actually I forgot that I haven't put the image up for the show. Whoops. Sorry. No, what the hell's happening? Damn it. I hate it when this happens. I just moved something in my computer and now everything's out of whack. So now I gotta go in there and fix this live. I hate doing this. I hate doing it, by the way, because it seems super unprofessional. But anyway, let me see. Is it that one? There you go. So now fixed. Cool. So the arc for season 2 is probably going to be following something about a giant turtle. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't read the manga. I watched the show. I watched season 1. I actually binge watched season 1 last weekend. This weekend I was watching another one. Strangely, another isekai. So this weekend I watched the time I got reincarnated as a slime, and last week I watched the Rising of the Shield Hero. personally, I thought Shield Hero was a lot better. I really enjoyed the show. And the show, it's actually, it's exciting and disappointing at the same time, because the first arc, the very beginning of the show, is really good. And then it becomes kind of like every other isekai out there. And it's really annoying, because it starts off really shitty for the main character. And I mean super shitty for the main character. And so I guess I should break down characters a little bit. The most important characters here, the most important ones to follow, to know, is obviously the Shield Hero, and his name is Naofumi. I need to double check that, because you guys know names are my thing. Naofumi Iwatani. So Naofumi is what they call him, and Raphtalia. Right, so those are the two main characters that everybody should care about. Those are the main two. So basically, Naofumi is in one of the shittiest situations I've seen for a protagonist in an anime for a very long time, especially for one that seems like it's going to be like a lighthearted show. Turns out it's not. And that's why I loved it, because things just go really badly for him right out of the gate. And so he becomes very dark very quickly, because the world becomes, let's just say, very unfair to him. He gets blamed for stuff that he shouldn't be blamed for. And it was interesting. The beginning part of the series is pretty good, because they're following the rule of, it's called the Angel Rule, because, I call it the Angel Rule because, I heard that Joss Whedon used it when he was writing the TV show Angel. And basically, the rule that he gave himself for Angel is that whenever the hero wins something, he has to lose something of equal or greater value. And that's how this show starts. So guy gets transported into a magical world and gains basically a super powerful weapon. He's got to lose something in return, and he kind of does. Then things start getting a little bit better. He's got to lose a little bit more, and it's great. It's a great way to build a character, and you just kind of feel. First off, it really makes you hate the antagonist, because you're like, why do you keep fucking with this guy? He's not even like a bad guy. And you see the main character kind of like lose himself a little. Like he came in like being like a really nice guy, like a really likable guy, and then he goes like, man, fuck humanity, fuck all these guys, fuck all these people, I just want to fucking leave. And so he becomes hyper capitalistic. Like he won't do anything for money. No, he won't do anything unless it's for money. So it's great. Like I said, it's a very interesting, it's very different. It's a very different take on a genre that's kind of been exhausted. Like we've seen everything at this point about isekais, I think. And so they pulled off something different at the start. Then there's a point kind of in the middle where I've always said that you can tell when an author or a writer falls in love with his characters a bit too much, and they kind of just stop losing. Now, in a way, it makes sense, because, the characters, it's like a video game. If your character, you start making him more powerful, then the enemies kind of suck a little. It's like, this game's getting too easy. But you can Dark Souls the shit out of this. You can just give him like a bunch of difficult enemies, but whatever. The point is, you could tell the point where the writer started loving the characters a bit too much, and consequences kind of just went out the window. The rule of whenever you win something, you lose something kind of went out the window. And so I'm hoping it turns around for season 2. I really do, because I was really enjoying the first part. Like I said, I was hooked. I watched it in like 2 days, the entire first season. It's like 20 something episodes. It's really enjoyable. It's fun. It's different. That's the biggest thing. It's different. The characters look cool. The design's cool. He doesn't look like a generic main character that you can project on. And it's not like the generic goody. It's like, no, he feels like he's an actual like unique character, different. So, like I said, it had a great start. It's all about what they do with it and where do they go from here. And so with that, we can break down the show a little bit more, right? So we can break down, like I said, main character Naofumi and Raphtalia. So who the hell is Raphtalia, right? Like I said, our boy Naofumi, not doing too great. Things start off really shitty for him. And even because apparently everybody hates the shield hero in this world. It's like, but for various reasons, they think he's a loser. And so he discovers that he has a major weakness. And that's that shields can mainly be used for defense, right? So he's all defense, so he needs offense. And that's when he decides, you know what? I can't trust anybody, so I'm going to go buy a slave. And so he goes and buys a slave, which is Raphtalia, and he's really nice to her. But the reason why he buys her is because literally everybody else hates him and nobody trusts him and he can't trust anybody. So he's like, all right, I need somebody that I know I can trust, and based on a slave spell, that's he said I can trust him. And so, like I said, dude kind of goes off the deep end more than a little bit, but whatever. So he buys her and he starts leveling her up, and she becomes basically his sword. So he's the shield, she's the sword, and they start teaming up and they start doing adventures, and things are going kind of well. So that's the key connection in this show by far, and you know that from the very first opening of the very first show. And honestly, like I said, the first opening's really good, the second opening's meh, but I guess that's the story of every single anime out there ever, that the second opening kind of sucks or leaves something to be desired. Anyway, their connection is really good. You feel for both characters, and here you start getting into one of the other tropes that bugs me about, or I guess it's a cultural thing, you know, like how Japanese people, they're too shy and don't want to do stuff, or like, oh, they don't like try kissing or whatever. That's really annoying. It's because on my culture, it's like, why don't you just make a move, man? Just somebody make a move. Why are we prolonging this? I know that in TV, the rule is you got to keep them apart, and in film, you got to bring them together. That's what we're talking about, couples here. But holy shit, there's ways of keeping people apart. And this is not a good one. It's really annoying. I hate it. I remember watching, what was it, High School DxD, with a dude that's basically like going to bed every day, and there's a bunch of beautiful naked women in his bed, and he doesn't want to touch it. He's like, no, I can't do it, blah, blah. It's like, dude, that's not a real man. That's not a real teenage boy. Are you kidding me? Like, I would believe more that he passes out and dies every night. He's unconscious and he can't do anything, more than he's like, oh no, I can't do it. So it's just not believable, and it really bugs me. But anyway, dude's traveling around with a hottie, and then randomly he picks up another two. Now, the two that he picks, oh, by the way, these are the other heroes. So you can see the other guys who think that they're better than him and better than the shield hero, and they're basically losers. Honestly, they're useless. They're like, no, well, they're not useless, but they're not as useful as the shield hero. And it has to do with, maybe the argument of the show is, well, you know who the protagonist is. And these dudes are also from another world, so technically they have superpowers. They're just not on the same level as the main character because they don't know how to use, because they really haven't suffered. And you know, in video games, when you grind and you have to go through the more difficult part, you gain more XP. I think that's the logic here. Whatever. So this is basically the most hateable character in the entire show is the princess, because she's the one the what's it called, the root of all evil basically here. You'll really hate her if you watch the show, but whatever, we're not talking about her. We're talking about these two. So as the journey goes along, he ends up picking up two other hotties. One is actually a princess of this particular world, and when she gets introduced, things kind of start taking a turn in the world. So instead of him being the most hated character and everything, let's just say that powerful beings start being on his side, and that's when the show, to me, really starts taking a turn. Because at one point, it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna clear everything up, and you got somebody who's on your back who's kind of really important, and it just, I don't know, it loses that flavor. And the flavor was the world. The thing that's fun is the world is against him, and everybody kind of hates him, and so the main character's personality is, you know what? Well, if you hate me, well, fuck you. I'll do my thing. I'll still be cool. I'll still do good, but I'm going to be a dick about it, which is fun to watch from a main character. And it's fun to watch from all the other characters. Like, man, maybe we judged him too harshly, but whatever. Anyway, so the names here of these two characters is, I need to check names because now I'm good at it. It's Melty, who is the princess, and Philo. And to me, Philo is the shit. Now, Philo is actually not a human. If you can see, she has wings, and the reason why she has wings is because she's actually like a giant chicken. And I think there's an image of her. Yeah, this is how Philo looks. It's a giant chicken. And I guess you could argue it's like an ostrich, but she's a giant chicken who turns into like a angel-esque loli. I think she's fucking hysterical. And again, he buys an egg. That's what she comes out of it. Turns out that it's like a special... you can see it coming. It's one of those things where just too many good things are happening at once. And you could again, this show, it's really funny because I was talking with my kid brother about this, and I was telling him, like, dude, this is like Shield Hero is if you saw a redo of a healer, but well made and without all the rape. That's that's pretty much what it is. Even though redo of a healer is not an isekai, now that I think about it, but whatever. It's like, yeah, all right, it's this guy, shitty situation, and he starts to get out of it and starts collecting a whole bunch of hotties in the process. Now, at the beginning of it, the problem seemed kind of interesting, and at the end of season 1, it looks like they're expanding on that. Like, the world is actually a little bit more interesting than it seems. Let me see if I have it. And it all has to do with more characters being introduced. And for those of you who are probably planning on watching the series, this might be a spoiler alert, but whatever. They introduce more characters close to the end, and these characters expand the possibilities of this world by a lot, and they kind of turn things on your head. So like I said, so far, you're like, okay, once a month, basically, we have a raid, and that's pretty much it. And then all of a sudden, they discover that heroes from Otherworld are coming over because they're also trying to stop raids in their world. So that sets up a very interesting situation. So are worlds constantly attacking each other, and whatever hero group ends up beating the other one, is the other world destroyed? Is that the only way you can stop raids from that particular one? Are we in an invasive universe that's attacking other realities? Are they the invasives? What's going on? What's pitting one universe against the other? Why are monsters coming through these portals? Why can you go to other dimensions? So it opens up interesting possibilities, and it makes the show, honestly, it made it start being a little bit sexier, the possibilities for the future. Because like I said, closer to the end of the season, of the first season, it was losing me a little, because things were starting to get a little bit too easy. Everybody was starting to like the main character, kind of, and it's like, yeah, that's not who you're supposed to be. There were no consequences. Now season 2, okay, looks like you got something to prepare for. There's something bigger, much bigger out there, and it's got room to grow. It's all about what you're gonna do with it, and how in love the writer is with the characters, which I don't mind writers being in love with their characters. I don't. Sometimes it makes them better writers. My issue is the no consequences, when there clearly should be consequences. That just annoys the fuck out of me. I hate the deus ex machinas. I hate when the writers come out of nowhere to just save characters with bullshit, basically. And so sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's not. In this show, they play with a very thin line here, because at moments it wasn't, and at moments it was. So hopefully season 2 is good, and hopefully season 3 comes out, because again, I'll binge watch. If season 2 had been out already, I'd start binge watching it too, because it's fun. It's a fun show. It made me want to read the manga. It made me want to read the light novels, because the characters are enjoyable. The setting is interesting enough for an isekai. It feels really different. So I recommend it. That's my point. Is it the best one I've ever seen? Probably not, but I did enjoy it. I've enjoyed it more than other shows that I've seen in a very long time. So there you go. It's simple. Oh, I forgot to put in the open. I'm gonna put the Otaku Tuesday open now. So there you go.
Nani? Otaku Tuesday.
There you go. For those of you who are waiting for it, I guess I kind of fucked up. Anyway, like I said, very different, very good. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It was a fun experience. Season 2's coming out. From what I saw in the trailer, it looks pretty good. It kind of looks closer to the second half of the season, but you never know. You never know. I might be surprised. Like I said, you can see here, right from this picture here, from the image of the show, that basically his collection of hotties has doubled, or actually more. Like it's 3 more, so it's doubled. So yeah, it's doubled by definitely, because I don't know if the green one counts. Well, the green-haired one counts at the end of season 1, but whatever. It's fun. It's fun. It's an easy show to watch. It's enjoyable. The dub is actually not bad. Now, I know this is always a debate. Like, should I watch the dub, the sub? Sometimes subs are 100% better. I agree. However, here, at least for Philo, the dub was phenomenal. I saw a few episodes on different languages. I thought the dub for Philo was 100 times better. So I don't know, maybe that's just me. I thought the dub was fine if you want to watch it. The show's on Crunchyroll if you want to check it out. So there you go. That's a good place to stop. As always, any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at Super Dario World on YouTube and on Twitch. Streaming, I'm kind of like aiming for like 6, 7, because it looks like at 6 my internet works. So if I'm doing live stream, it's during the weekdays, and it's probably going to be closer to 6 than anything else. But we'll see how it goes, at least this week. If you want to send me something privately, you can always do that on Instagram at Super Dario World and at Dario STW. As always, thank you for joining me. Oh, like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. Really helps me out. As always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.